play.
That is the key to this, that it all comes down to how much the audience likes it. So remember that, an audience, let us know.
That's right. If you're right, that doesn't mean you're right.
Yeah.
There we go. Your first beer slang term is the rainbow. What is the rainbow?
This one's pretty obvious, as you guys have learned by now. I am an expert in beer. That is any beer made with Skittles.
Any beer. Yes. Makes sense. Taste the rainbow.
I actually disagree with him, though. I'm going to say that this is any beer that involves an ingredient in the beer known as unicorn ejaculation.
Oh, whoa.
Well, based on Logan's definition, you're all drinking rainbows of beer.
All right, who are we going with?
Tim got it.
Yeah.
Tim added it, not me. Collected it.
I think we're kind of between Skittles or unicorn ejaculation. We always go here so quick.
I mean, seriously. That is like the third episode in a row that someone has said unicorn ejaculation.
Yeah. I thought I'll start with the rainbow and then we'll be safe and then we'll go into some other ones. So,
It's actually possible that those are not two separate answers.
Oh.
Because it's well known that rainbows ejaculate Skittles.
We could combine it and give them
fact. I read it in
one. This could be just Genus versus Mountain Lakes tonight.
Oh, okay. All right.
So if that's the case,
Yeah. All right.
Then we'll give Genus the point for that.
The gloves are off. All right. So they're combining. Genus gets the point.
We are experts.
This is when beers in your flight of tasters has a multitude of colors to sample from. As in, I went to Genus Brewing to see their winter beer selection, and boy, did I taste the rainbow. All right, well, your second beer slang term is safety beer. What is a safety beer?
I've actually looked this up, Chris.
You're not supposed to.
Well, I did. And
no phone.
So back in the 1970s, you remember Burt Reynolds? He was in Cannonball Run and Smokey and the Bandit and all. Well, you'll notice that in the early episodes, he was not wearing a seatbelt.
Right.
And they tried to get him to wear a seatbelt to sort of promote the idea of safety.
Right.
And he was like, no. And then they said, we'll give you a lot of beer. So they gave him a lot of beer. He drank all the beer, and he put his seatbelt on. So that beer was the safety beer.
So probably Coors, because with Smokey and the Bandit, that's what they were smuggling.
And everybody's going to vote for me because I found this on the internet. And as I learned at the last election, all things on the internet are true.
Right. That's correct. That's true.
Thank you.
It is true. You can't lie on the internet. That's right. It's true. It's weird though. So I used to play a game when I was a kid, and it was anytime that you passed gas, you had to say safety. Eventually, I turned 21, and so when I was in college, the same game rules applied. If you didn't say safety, you got to get punched in the arm, right? But instead of saying safety, it was chugging a safety beer.
All right.
That's what it was.
I got you. I'm going with the internet. The Burt Reynolds thing. We're giving Mountain Lakes the point. The safety beer is actually the beer you bring to a party as a backup, just in case all the beers there suck. So you might bring your safety beer, or like when I come to Mountain Lakes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why do you?
I bring my safety beer, just in case.
Raise your hand if you like Chris Cindric.
Just a quick reminder that in January we'll be looking for a new host for Wheat Wheat Don't Tell Me.
All right.
And we'll accept the same pay scale.
Oh, yeah. It's a paycation. All around.
A vacation from paying you.
That's right. Your third beer slang term is thoroughbred.
So I think I got this, Chris.
Okay.
I've thought long and hard, and I have determined that this is a beer brewed in any state except Arkansas.
Okay.
What?
That is fair.
There's no thoroughbreds in Arkansas. Let's be real.
Okay.
Thoroughbred, is that like when you go to a party and you bring the best beer and everyone's like, well, why am I drinking this one when I could be drinking Chris's Thoroughbred.
That didn't sound right.
No?
Didn't sound right. Dave.
Yeah.
Yep, that's.
So why did I drink this beer when I could be drinking Chris's Thoroughbred?
Wait,
That sounded better. That sounded better.
I actually think thoroughbred refers to the purity of the beer. So, people who come to Mountain Lakes and they're like, hey, can I get a beer in a traditional style? And we're like,
Maple
no,
bar.
All we get is shit with like maple in it or like blueberries or here's a Hefeweizen mixed with a stout that we call whatever the fuck we call it. And they're like, I want a thoroughbred. And so they go to Genus Brewing. They're like, screw you guys.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I have to take Peter in the back, and 5 minutes later, I have a glass of beer.
That's how beers are made.
There you go.
Little did you know.
5-gallon batches every 15 minutes.
Yeah. Unicorn magic. Well, who are we giving the point to here? Audience? Anyone? Yeah. Half points.
Oh.
Half points. So now you each have 1.5.
Half each.
Half each. So.
No, that's a half inch more than I usually get.
Oh.
That's what she said.
Well, actually, a thoroughbred is a brewery or beer that achieves significantly high status after only being open or released for a short period of time.
You could say the Genus Count Chocula beer. That was maybe a thoroughbred.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah.
that was a thoroughbred beer.
Yeah.
Your fourth beer slang term is tantric.
Oh, God.
Tantric.
Yeah, when you gotta make some Skittles and it's just you and a unicorn. You pull out the old book, right?
Actually, Dave and I have been using this term for quite a while. It's when our friend Chris Sindrick has a little anger spell or tantrum. We call it a tantric.
There you go.
He's like, where's my milk stout? And we're like, it's not here, Chris. He's like, ah! He starts screaming.
I do. I lose
He
it.
turns red.
That's why I bring my safety beer.
He wets his pants. It's a terrible time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sitting on these kegs makes my butt hurt. Can I get a pad?
I called a fella.
I need a pad for my seat. Why is it so tantric?
Yeah. Okay. I'm kind of giving you the
I don't know.
point.
But tantric, I think as soon as I hear tantric, I just jump to Sting and his comments years ago.
All right. That is something.
Which is amazing. I mean, that is something.
Yeah.
Talk about Bumble's bounce.
Yeah.
But
Whoa.
I mean, is it have something to do with like making a beer last?
Yes. Yeah.
But don't give it to Dave. That's the right answer.
Hey, we're on the same team this time.
Yeah.
Dang
We're playing
it.
together.
That was my answer.
I'd rather be funny than right, Dave.
All right. Well, we're giving you the Cindric pissy fit thing. I think that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you the point. So this is actually a term used to describe a beer that gets better and better as you are drinking it. The beer becomes tantric. Like over Thanksgiving when my wife found me alone in the dark drinking a River City VB Stout that was aged in dry fly bourbon barrels. And she said, it's 1 a.m. You've been drinking that beer for 3 hours. And I said, well, what's wrong with that? It's tantric. And she said, nothing, but why are your pants off? I said, I like beer. Your fifth beer slang term is yarcock.
I think it's when you're in the brewery and someone comes in and they're telling you, you know, all this highfalutin stuff, and you're just there to have a beer, and they just keep talking beer science with you, and you're like, no, not today, it's not brew day, and then they just keep talking about it, and they just keep talking about it, and you just turn to them and you go, you're a cock.
There you go. All right. I think we have a winner. Yeah. Another point. Genus.
That's my first point.
Genus. Here we go.
Actually, no. I think, as usual, Dave is completely disillusional.
Definitely a
Delusional.
word.
Get him a beer.
Yes. So Yarkok is obviously a Norwegian term, and they love to ferment shark. So Yarkok is actually a style of beer fermented inside of a shark.
Oh.
That is factual. We are experts.
That is,
Yes,
well,
that is factual. That is factual.
That
It
sounds-
tastes a lot like yes. I was gonna say Skittles,
Oyster
but
stout.
I think it just tastes like something different in there.
Here at We Don't Tell Me, we call that pulling a musser.
right.
You might be right, but
Yeah.
Well,
I think. Well, and I had when I was in Norway, I had it was a beer. It was called a Great Wit. And it was one of those beers.
Yeah.
Oh, you should try our Great Wit.
Yeah, Great Wit is an awesome year card.
Oh yeah, yes, pretty good.
Yep.
All
I
right.
can prove he's wrong because it's not Norwegian, it's Swedish.
Oh, it's
So,
Swedish.
good job.
And it's brewed in a fish, like a Swedish.
Oh my gosh.
Spread it a fetus.
It's not a shark.
Swedish fish.
He's over there sipping the Great Wit.
All right, what are we thinking? A tie?
I already gave the point to us. Move on.
Well, but we had a rebuttal. Half points.
Tallest
One
beer
half
wins.
point. Take a half a
Son
point.
of
Oh,
a...
sorry.
Even when I get a full point, I get a half point.
So, Jarkok means yeast scream in Norwegian. In certain regions of Norway, it is customary to scream into the fermenter as the yeast is pitched. It is claimed that if you do this, your beer will be strong and the townsfolk will be cheerful while drinking it. Can you give us an example of a Jarkok? Like, let's hear Mountain Lake's Jarkok, and then let's hear the Genus Brewing one that you're going to start doing.
Oh, man.
Okay, there we go.
But Tim already does that when he pitches the yeast. So.
At Genus Brewing, we actually do have a Jarkok, very commonly used with a Norwegian strain of yeast. And it's 3, 2, 1.
There you go. This is the Kvike scream. Kvike! I like it. All right, that's good.
It's just what we do.
All right, well, your final beer slang term is gemütlichkeit. Okay. What is gemütlichkeit?
I'm just going to say right now, this loosely translated into American as, do you like to lick it?
Do you like to...
You like it?
Do you
do you lick it?
Do you like it?
Yes. Yeah.
Very commonly used with leaked beers, which is a common table beer style in Germany.
Right.
In meantime, it honestly it translates into I've drank too much, and I am now licking the glass.
Oh, thank God we're videotaping this one. 'Cause usually people miss stuff like that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
great.
my glass just disappeared. I don't know what happened there.
You drank it.
Yeah, you drink
Yes.
Kvike!
Oh no, I did that like 10 minutes before the show. Don't worry about it.
Gemütlichkeit is actually a home brewing term. And it's, as you know, when you ferment in bottles, you get a little bit of slurry at the bottom. And that's known commonly as Gemütlichkeit, as our homebrew store owners will attest.
Looks a lot like Skittles.
Yeah, and you're going to want to rinse out those bottles before you fill them again because you don't want that Gemütlichkeit getting in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll infect a batch.
Yep.
For those of you who haven't caught on, Skittles has been a metaphor for me going
Yeah, we're
answer to answer.
Yeah.
Wait.
All right, half points. I mean, I got lost.
Logan and I got 3.5 points. I think Tim and Dave got 1.5 points.
Is that right? I'm gonna split this point to both of you.
So much splitting and dividing.
It hurts.
Does the audience have a favorite?
Nobody told us there would be fractions.
Who wants Genus to get the point? Yeah! Come on! Who wants Mountain Lakes to get the point? Oh, I'm sorry. I stand corrected.
Pays down
Mountain
the
Lakes
sign.
gets the point.
I sense a locational bias.
So, yes.
That sounded like we won. I don't know if you guys... I don't know. Your ears must be bad.
So-
It sounded like we won.
So the answer actually is Gemütlichkeit is a German word that is difficult to translate as it truly is in reference to a feeling or state of being. But generally, it is a state of warmth, friendliness, and good cheer often found in a cozy guesthouse pub or a local craft brewery like you might find here at Mountain Lakes Brewing or at Genus Brewing. So if you're wondering what Gemütlichkeit is, it actually happened tonight. You experienced it.
all ties back to Skittles.
Could you say there's Gemütlichkeit in my pants? Would that be a good use of the term?
You can, but I'll edit it out.
And you're all invited?
I think you're going to need a new pair of pants.
Yeah.
The warm, fuzzy feeling was my second guess.
So
This is supposed to say.
let's see how our panelists did. Dave,
Let me